At just 20 years old, most men are still learning how to lead, still learning how to survive. But he made a different decision, not to defend his kingdom, not to protect what he had inherited, but to destroy the most powerful empire on earth. Though he didn't have the numbers, he didn't have the resources, he didn't have the advantage, but he had something else: ambition without limits. And from that moment, history would never be the same. Was not raised in peace. He was born into a kingdom built on war. His father had transformed Macedon into one of the most powerful military forces in the Greek world, a kingdom of discipline, a kingdom of ambition, a kingdom preparing for conquest. From childhood, Alexander was surrounded by soldiers. He didn't grow up hearing stories of peace. He grew up watching armies move, watching strategies unfold, watching power being taken, not given. And from the beginning, he understood one thing clearly: power is not inherited, it is taken. But strength alone does not build an empire. So he was taught how to think. Under the guidance of one of the greatest minds of the ancient world, Alexander learned more than war. He studied philosophy, politics, science, leadership. He learned how to understand people, how to control them, how to lead them. This gave him something rare, something dangerous: a warrior who could think. Not just how to win battles, but how to shape the world after them. Before he ever wore a crown, but he had already proven himself. At a young age, Alexander was given real responsibility. Not symbolic power, real command, real decisions, real consequences. And when the moment came, he did not hesitate. He showed courage in battle, control under pressure, and the ability to lead men into conflict and bring them out victorious. This was no longer potential. This was proof. He was not preparing to lead. He already could. Then, everything changed, was assassinated, and suddenly, at just 20 years old, Alexander became king. But he did not inherit stability. He inherited danger. Enemies inside his kingdom, rivals watching for weakness, Greek cities waiting for the moment to break free. This was the moment where most rulers fail, where doubt spreads, where power collapses. But not here, not this time. Because Alexander did not wait. He moved, fast, decisive, unforgiving. Threats were eliminated, control was secured, and within moments, the message was clear: he was not a weak king. He was a dangerous one. Then came the moment that changed everything. The Greek city of Thebes rose in rebellion. They believed what many others believed, that Alexander was too young, too inexperienced, too weak to respond. They were wrong. He did not negotiate. He did not delay. He marched, fast, direct, relentless. And when he arrived, that he didn't just defeat Thebes, he erased it. The city was destroyed. Resistance crushed completely. Its fate became a message, a warning, a line drawn in history. This is what happens when you challenge him. And in that moment, everything changed. Greece did not just see a king. They saw power. They saw fear. They saw a man who would not hesitate, not to destroy anything in his path. Now, there was nothing left to stop him. Greece was secured, rivals silenced, power fully in his hands. And so, he looked outward, toward the greatest empire the world had ever seen. A force that had dominated nations, crushed resistance, and nearly conquered Greece itself. Most would see an impossible enemy, a force too large to challenge. But Alexander saw something else, an opportunity. He did not wait for Persia to strike again. He chose to strike first. This was not defense. This was ambition. This was the moment everything began. With his army ready and his path set, that he moved toward Asia, toward Persia, toward war. And what began as a decision would soon become one of the greatest campaigns in history. If you want to see how he challenged and shattered an empire, subscribe, because the story is just beginning.